I've never really considered cheating except in occasional fantasy or in a dream. I'm actually a really faithful person. However, I almost never drink, so I had no idea what could happen if someone got me drunk. Welcome back to They Did What? Your source for the internet's craziest, most entertaining stories, where I go over them, analyze them, and most certainly make fun of them. Today, I'm going to go over a story titled, Female 32 Got Horribly Drunk and Cheated. And big shout out to Joseph for sending me this story. And guys, what we have here is yet another story about a gal, a mother of two I might add, who's 32, married, claims that she's obviously always been faithful, who then blames alcohol for her actions. And you're going to see, guys, this whole story, there's all these things here that just simply don't add up in terms of, like, it's unbelievable that her husband allows this shit, and the complete lack of maturity she has. But given how people are nowadays in today's world, it doesn't surprise me in the least. Now, there are parts of the story that seem a little bit exaggerated, almost like she was doing this for fun. But then there's other parts that could be real, so we'll leave that part up in the air there. But the point is, you're going to see her go through this story. It describes how she's hanging out with these people, there was alcohol involved, what she did, and then obviously tries to play the victim and, oh, I'm so sorry, it wasn't me, it was the alcohol and all that. And the funny thing is, nobody's buying it, because you're going to see she'll reflect about the comment section and people just eviscerating her over this whole thing. It's quite entertaining, but nevertheless, this boils down to the whole lack of accountability, Sodom and Gomorrah 2.0, just how immature our society is right now, and it's unbelievable that some of these morons are raising kids. I feel bad for these poor kids that are raised by this nut job. But anyhow, starts off saying, I've been married for 5 years to the most wonderful man. I've never really considered cheating except in occasional fantasy or in a dream. I'm actually a really faithful person. Sure. However, I almost never drink, so I had no idea what could happen if someone gets me drunk. This happened yesterday on my birthday. Yeah, she said her husband's a wonderful man. She sure treats him like that. A little backstory. Since giving birth to my second child, I started playing online games. There I've become part of a small gaming community of 5 guys and 2 girls, and we all started to hang out. I swear it was always innocent, and I hadn't even thought of them in an S-word way. They are all now ages 18 through 22, except for one guy who's 27, and 2 of us occasionally joke about being the parents of the group. What the hell is a 32-year-old woman who's a mother of 2 kids, married, hanging out with a bunch of the majority of the group that are 18 to 22 years old, right? Grow the hell up. Unless she probably likes all the attention coming from these young people, thinking that she's cool and she's the good-looking older woman. I'm just speculating she's good-looking, that type of thing. And why is her husband allowing this? Unless, obviously, he's just, well, like a lot of these guys in these stories. You have 2 kids. You are a wife. You're a mother. Act like one. That mothers and wives, they're in their 30s, should be hanging out, doing online games, hanging out with a bunch of people like this. Grow the hell up. So they decided to surprise me and take me out for my birthday, even arranging everything with my husband so that he babysits after driving me to the surprise party. Wait a second, it's her birthday, and she's not going to spend it with her husband and kids, the most important people in her life. She's going to go out and hang out and party with a bunch of 18 to 22-year-olds. What the hell is this? This goes to show her level of maturity, her complete lack of maturity, lack of care for her husband and kids, and again, him going along with this. We were in a rented medium-sized warehouse with only a table someone brought, no chairs, and on the table there were a lot of food and drinks, including alcohol, and one of them had their phone hooked up to speakers and played loud music. Sounds like a little rave. Again, with a bunch of 18 to 22-year-olds. Turns out that some of them thought it would be funny to spike my Fanta with vodka, and a few minutes later I was completely drunk. From that moment on, I did a lot of stuff I regret now. Here are just some of the things I remember. Okay, I'm going to stop here. She said they spiked my Fanta with vodka. Fanta, I had to look this up because I didn't know, is a orange soda, okay, which I think is disgusting, but people drink it. So, believe me, if she normally doesn't drink, she would be able to tell the difference in this soda right away, something's off, and not drink it. or how much they had to put a whole lot in there to get her trashed, okay? And also drunk in a few minutes. Nobody gets that drunk in a few minutes, okay? And this is just an excuse. There's an excuse for the disgusting stuff, what happens next. Get the hell out of here. She's 32 years old. You tell me she has enough life experience to know what she's doing here? Come on. This is just her way to get out of this. She said, we played spin the bottle, and I made out with everyone at one point. Oh, well, it's the alcohol's fault, not her fault. We then played strip poker until all us girls were in our underwear. Luckily, it was really hot evening, so none of us was cold. Oh, well, thank the Lord. I'm glad nobody got cold amongst the cheating she was doing on her husband. We then danced for a while, and it really started to get sweaty. Someone brought a huge blanket in case we wanted to go out for a picnic later, but we ended up laying it on the floor, and while we were there, still all in our underwear, we all started to tease, cuddle, and started to make out. We girls started to talk about you-know-what in front of the guys, while also commenting on them, and wondering who could F the best. When we found out one of the guys was a virgin, all three of us started to make out with him and kiss him all over his body. Again, it's the alcohol's fault, not her fault, because she couldn't tell, right? Get the fuck out of here. And it was drunk in a few minutes. I wouldn't have done this normally, but it was the alcohol's fault. She wanted to do this. This was just all prepped and excuse. They planned this. Come on. At about 2 o'clock in the morning, everybody was gone, and I volunteered to help the 27-year-old, my group husband, to clean up and put the table in back in his car. Before we did that, we had a little more to drink. Suddenly, he started to kiss me and telling how hot he was. I was so horny. I just let him do whatever he wanted with me. He slipped his finger in my you-know-what, and then he took his you-know-what out and effed me over the table until he did his business inside of me. While he was giving me a ride home, we both started to sober up a bit, so we parked the car in a car lot. He apologized, and so did I. I told him it was the best night I ever had in my life, but I can't believe what I did. We talked about whether I would tell my husband, and he was really supportive and told me if I need anything to let him know. However, while remembering the night, I got frisky again, so I took out his you-know-what and blew him a bit. He was a bit bigger than my husband, and then let him do his business inside me before dropping me off. Amongst many other things, this is why I think that this thing was a bit exaggerated, if not a creative writing thing here, but okay. So she said here, they pulled over, she sobered up completely, but still did her business with this guy. So I don't want to hear the blaming on the alcohol thing. This is what you blamed on the alcohol before because you were supposedly drunk, but now you were totally sobered up and still did these things. Now listen to how this goes. She says, I've showered so many times since then, I just can't wash away my guilt. Yeah, I can tell you feel so bad. You weren't drunk when you did the last dirty deed, lady. Anybody else out there want to get married? Anybody else? Unbelievable. Again, 32 years old, mother of two, but what probably is going on here, she said this all started after her second child. She got in this online gaming group. She probably turned 30, I'm guessing, and that's when the age when all women fear, and she needs to know that she's still good-looking and wanted, so she's in this group with all these younger guys to get that attention and validation. That's more, the attention and validation, it's just like plants. Plants can't function without water and sunlight the same way a woman cannot function without attention and validation, especially when they cross the line at 30 years old. She says, now a little update. She said, I tried answering everyone, but it's already over 200 comments. Some of them are repetitive, so here's some of the frequently asked questions. So she posted this, got bombarded with people asking questions and giving it to her. She said, I made a throwaway account and posted here, but misunderstood what this is about. I thought it was a way for people who are feeling slutty to vent. Not that it's a form of Redditors who like stories like this. My mistake, I'm not judging. 2. However, please know that I feel really bad about this, and it feels weird when I get messages from Redditors who find this hot. She doesn't feel bad about this at all, please. If she felt really bad about it, she would do something by not posting online to get a whole bunch of attention and validation. She says, 3, no, I'm not going to tell my husband, even though I know it would be the right thing to do. He used to be thinking about offing himself, and I refuse to risk it. Oh, what a convenient way out of her getting away with this whole thing. And like she wouldn't do this again. And gee, I wonder why maybe in the past he thought about offing himself, being married to her. If she loved him that much, she wouldn't have done this to begin with. And we all know alcohol is just used as an excuse. Number 4, no, I didn't notice my drink was spiked. I thought my drink was spoiled and felt too awkward to say anything about it before it was way too late. I also didn't notice I was getting drunk before because I never drink. You've had alcohol before, so you know what the signs are. And again, if it tasted strange, you do something about it. You're not going to get nervous to create an awkward moment. A bunch of 18 to 22-year-olds who obviously like you and look up to you. Get the fuck out of here. Bullshit. Just an excuse. She says, number 5, yes, I suck as a person, and I'm so sorry. I'm sorry to everyone who got triggered. I take full responsibility for my shitty behavior, and I wish I could take it back. No, you don't. But I can't. If for some reason you feel like insulting me for it, I'm not going to stop you. But I'd like you to ask not to insult my husband or children while you do it. They do not deserve the scorn. Well, she's a piece of shit, and she's obviously getting bombarded with people hating on her, and she should. But the husband obviously is that clueless and allowing her to hang out with these people and do all these things on her birthday and everything. But still, at the end of the day, she's the big piece of garbage here. And she's a mother, for God's sakes. At number 6, no, I'm not doing it again. And yes, I plan to cut ties with the entire group. And after that, I'll do my best to work on my marriage and do the best to fix what little I still can. Please. She planned this whole thing out and she's probably been fantasizing it for a while, found the perfect moment to do this, and the alcohol is just an excuse. And now that she got out of her system, maybe she will cut them off, but in time, she'll do it again. And this guy does deserve to know, absolutely. Now she had another update reflecting and mentioning all the people who have been hating on her. She says here, here's an interesting observation. There's a 78% upvote rate on the post, which means a 4-to-1 ratio of positive to negative opinions. Yet looking at the comments, it seems the ratio reverses itself. This leads me to conclude that only the most hateful tend to comment, probably as a way of virtue signaling. Fair enough. But 430 comments in, I'm going to start ignoring the comments section completely. If you wish to virtue signal, write in the comments. If you wish for me to see the insult, feel free to DM me. Your insults don't bother me because they can't compare in harshness to my current inner dialogue, meaning her inner suffering. So people are bombarding her with insults for who she is and what she did, but it does nothing to compare to the inner turmoil that she's going through. Now, here are a few comments here. One guy says, how do you spike a drink with strong alcohol like vodka and don't notice? If it was a large amount that she would get drunk quickly, then 100% she would notice. If it was a small amount, she would start noticing that she's getting drunk. Exactly. This is not a Reddit for making excuses and looking for validation, and that is what OP is looking for. She thought that because of nature of this Reddit, she can post it and feel better about her cheating. Posts like this should be deleted by moderation because this is slutty confessions, not to help me feel better. Yeah, the whole thing there about the attention and validation and the alcohol, dead on. Now the guy says, wait, making out with a group you're okay with is just as bad as effing the guy, then doing it again when sobering up in the car. Not to mention getting in the car with him, both still drunk. You both can be killed drunk driving, leaving your husband to raise your kids with no mom. You have no shame, really. Yeah, well, maybe that would have been a blessing. Think about that. Then it would just be him and the kids. Instead, she's going back home with her wacko self, with those poor kids being raised by her. Another one says, the truth is she'll never tell him. She'll end up cheating again and use the my husband will hurt himself to justify not telling him. You can't help people like this. She's a lost cause and her husband married a lying whore. 100%. And this guy's not going to find out. Unless maybe he's on Reddit or something. It's really a shame. And the last one says, and by the way, the last comment here, this is her responding to people saying what they said. She says, I don't want a divorce, but I'm not delusional that I would deserve it at this point. However, I'm worried he might harm himself if he finds out. He has a history of it. So no, I'm not telling. And I'll make sure he doesn't find out from someone else either. That's the woman that wrote this. So again, doubling down on he has a history of thinking about offing himself. So she's going to do this to him, right? And that's her excuse to not tell him the truth. There you go. This poor bastard. So there you go, guys. Yet another example using the alcohol as an excuse and just how warped things are nowadays. This piece of crap is raising 2 little kids. It's really a shame. But yet another sign for guys to not get married, take years to screen their gal, always pay attention to red flags, sleep with one eye open, trust but verify, you know the whole thing. So not exactly a revenge story or a guy getting out on top, more of a story just revealing the mindset and the attitude that's out there. Disgusting. All right, guys, that is it for today. Be sure to comment down below. Let me know what you think about this. Let me know, guys, if you encountered people like this that use the alcohol as the excuse and all that. I'd like to hear about it. And be sure to like the video, share with your friends, and subscribe. And I'll catch you next time.